Union's Capacity Building Foundation that has convened a two-day virtual summit zooming in on the African Continental Free Trade Area bottlenecks. The summit focuses also include the capacity challenges of member states and how small businesses can become the driving force for a successful implementation of the free trade agreement. To give us more insights on this discussion, we are now joined by Professor Emmanuel Nndadozie, who is the Executive Secretary of the African Capacity Building Foundation. Prof, good evening and welcome to African Perspective. So day one kicking off today, what would you say were some of the highlights?
Well, thank you for having me. The Africa Think Tank Summit had its seventh meeting. This started today, this morning. And of course, the main aim of the summit was to provide really a platform for African think tanks and key stakeholders to engage in a high-level deliberation on the most effective ways of addressing the capacity challenges facing the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area in order to accelerate its implementation and enhance country readiness in implementing and benefiting from the agreement, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So today, we were able to examine the impact of COVID-19 on the AfCTA, and then the key capacity issues that are facing the implementation of this at the continental and at the country levels. And also, so we got the different perspectives from different stakeholders, including from the public sector, the private sector, and from the civil society organizations.
Was it clear at all what the major bottlenecks are? I understand that we have COVID-19 and the implementation was supposed to have been in July 2020, but now it has been postponed to January 2021. But is it clear as yet what the major bottlenecks are with regards to this implementation of the free trade area?
Yes, clearly the bottlenecks are known. Our foundation, the African Capacity Building Foundation, specializes in helping to identify the capacity needs and capacity gaps existing, especially for the implementation of flagship projects for Agenda 2063, such as the AfCTA. And those gaps exist at the institutional level, and they also exist at the human capacity level. The institutional level, for example, if you look at the key what you may consider to be the frontline institutions and actors when it comes to really making the AfCTA a reality, is starting from the African Union itself and to the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat. One can see that there are a lot of institutional weaknesses that are not yet addressed. And this also exists at the level of the regional economic communities. And if you also go down to the country level, you'll find that many countries do not yet have the institutional mechanism for operationalizing this continental free trade area, such as AfCFTA unit, and they also have not been able to put together what you may consider to be a coalition of coordinated mechanism that will enable them to maximize the benefits that can come from this. In terms of human capacity, we realize that there are critical skills that are needed, both in terms of the policy-making dimension and the oversight, as well as the areas that require negotiation, addressing the protocol issues, and also making sure that the private sector itself, which is the driving force for this continental free trade area, has the requisite capacity to be able to benefit from it.
Just quickly then, Wamkele Emene, the Secretariat, also indicated earlier on this month that only 23 countries have deposited instruments for customs infrastructure, and this is 28 out of about 54. What does this mean for the or the successful implementation of the free trade area?
Well, we hope that the things will improve as time goes on. If you also been following the ratification process, it took quite a while to get that 25 that was needed for it to enter into force. So, as you know, I think there's an understanding that every country is not at the same level when it comes to establishing the mechanisms that will enable them to really start trading on January 1, 2021. But it will be very important for the 54 countries, well, right now it's 53, that have already signed this agreement, to be able to get themselves into the readiness necessary for them to start to participate. But we just hope that this agreement will not go the way of some other major continental initiatives, whereby signing is one thing, but implementing is another one. And because the stakes are very high here. Look at the continent of 1.2 billion people, and it's estimated that this is about the economy of 2.5 trillion GDP. So the benefits are quite enormous. But understandably, there's some resistance in some parts of the continent where some countries worry that they may not be ready to be able to participate because they see themselves as not having a diversified economy that will enable them to actually trade and export goods and services. And so they're worried that they will just only be in a position to import and not to be able to export goods and benefit from the free trade agreement.
Okay, and just a quick one on looking at the regional bodies, looking at like a SADC, for instance, looking at like an ECOWAS. Is it possible at all to do it from that level, to try and fast track the implementation of the free trade area? Hi, Prof, did you get that? Okay, no, we seem to have lost Professor Emmanuel there. But it's okay, that is Professor Emmanuel there, who is joining us from the African Capacity Foundation. We've come to the end of the show. From me, Aldrin Simpier, and the rest of the team, yes, we are family, and we are saying goodbye. And let's see if